I'm now going to hand over to Darren, who's one of my advocates, and he wants to talk from his own personal perspective about how some of the barriers he's faced, shall we say. So.
Good afternoon. A couple of weeks ago, I had a guy come in with a PhD in, I think it was nuclear physics. Now, he was on a DBB. He was, after doing substantive postdoctoral work in one of the universities, he was basically set himself up with contract work for various organisations. The contract work dried up. His wife left him and left him with a young child, and he didn't know what to do. I suppose I better actually talk about who I am. When I actually, I can remember coming into these halls, what reminds me of my undergraduate days, and I didn't have the luxury of coming here. I was down at Canterbury, and when I started as an undergraduate, especially when I was writing an essay, I would have to start by putting everything into a social context, rather than trying to sort of pretend that I'm actually over-generalising from this minority position or a position of disability. I would start by explaining who I am, what my background is, a bit about my whakapapa, a bit about what I've actually studied and what my influences are. And then I'd go on and actually start writing the essay, and by the end of it, hopefully the person reading it wasn't too bored by what I'd actually written. Second, I have to say that as a person, my personal context is actually quite unique. One is I'm Pākehā, and I actually, as Pākehā, I actually have an understanding what Pākehā means. I've actually come to terms with it, and actually, one of the reasons I went to university is to actually educate myself about what it is to actually be, for example, a partner with the Treaty of Waitangi, and exactly what that actually means in the 21st century. And as somebody with Asperger's syndrome, that neurologically people who are usually called AS or autistic syndrome are people who are intellectual square pegs that cannot and will not fit in with sociological folkways and so-called accepted behaviour. AS people have what some people term qualitative impairments of social communication and interaction, along with restricted and repetitive activities and interests. The specific symptoms of the syndrome vary from individual to individual. The crux of this is my disability is that I've got atypical social skills, and I also can appear to be different. And this makes it very difficult for me to find suitable employment without the ongoing support of a sympathetic employer. I'm sensitive to environmental factors, which means that if I actually do get an offer of work, the stress and time taken for me to complete the general tasks accepted of such a position is usually greater than that of a normal person. That's one reason why I'm actually in benefit advocacy. It's actually a very supportive environment in which I can, as long as I don't rock the boat too much, I can actually fit in fairly much with a supportive, although in some ways fairly odd group of people. Most of us are volunteers. Most of us are actually beneficiaries ourselves. I mean, for example, I'm on the invalid's benefit, and that's after years of looking for suitable work and having dozens of employers basically either send me a standard rejection letter or slam the door in my face figuratively. One of the problems with having a permanent disability or health condition, like autistic syndrome, is that you may fail to quite often manifest physical symptoms. And there's actually quite a dilemma about whether you actually want to admit to government departments like work and income or IRD that you actually have a disability, or that you actually that on the one hand, if you don't actually ask for help, you tend to get treated like any other beneficiary, or in the case when I was studying, like any other student. Quite often this can actually be the easiest route, especially if you spent most of your life, like I am, actually trying to fit in and get other people to try and treat you as a normal human being. I did that all the time I was at university. It actually took me roughly about twice as long as a normal student to finish at university, because I'd convinced myself that I didn't actually require any additional help. At the time, which was sort of a few years ago now, disability support, especially disability support for students, had a very strong stigma to it. It was seen as being primarily for people in wheelchairs, my apologies, or with some sort of physical ailment, such as a palsy, and that support was only given to people with obvious physical disabilities, and somebody with a neurological condition like I have, it's not. You don't basically go and ask for help. And then if you actually do ask for help, you've actually got the stigma of having to prove to government agencies, especially to the lovely Ministry of Social Development, that the condition that you've actually had all your life actually does exist. You're not making it up. In my case, this has sort of meant lots of extra doctor's visits and filling out bits of paper and getting my medical certificate renewed umpteenth times, just to actually get them to recognise that I'm actually a person and I've got different needs from a lot of other people.
We're going to have to skip forward.
Okay, how far forward?
Do the last two bits.
Yeah. The Ministry of Social Development has actually, especially work and income, has got a strong culture of disempowerment and degradation of all its clients. You can turn up with any background, like for example the client I had a couple of weeks ago with his postdoctoral degree, and still get treated as a second-class citizen and a potential criminal. For this reason, most work and income clients find interviews with ministry staff to be uncomfortable, and by estimates, probably about half of the of clients don't actually finish the application for because they find it too unbearable, or come and see people like us, or put it off for another day. And this is increasingly so for anybody who actually differs from what I think the Honourable Don Brash described as mainstream New Zealand. I'm yet to meet a beneficiary who would not give up his or her benefit in favour of a suitable job if one came along. Being without paid employment is depressing and demoralising, and the money they receive from the unemployment benefit is less than half the minimum wage. Thank you.